Hi, I'm Susanna Gibb. I am the owner of Gibb Insurance Services and your host for this podcast. So, we started this podcast because we wanted to focus on the people in our community. An insurance agency is really rooted in its community, and nobody really wants to hear about insurance for a whole 30 minutes. But the clients that we work with have some interesting stories, like the one that we have today. Today is Chris and Nicole of Southside Steaks and Cakes. Sometimes I feel like I should rename this podcast How COVID Changed Things. And there's so many positive stories of things that actually came out of COVID. And theirs is one of them. COVID opened a door for them and changed their business. I really enjoyed talking to them. I can't wait to go and eat their food and sit at their table and see all the things that they are doing to give back to their community. So I hope you enjoy. Oh, and stick around to the end because we'll have our insurance tip, trick, or story of the week. Thanks. So my guests today on the podcast are Chris and Nicole, and they are of Southside Steaks and Cakes. And if you haven't gone to their website or Facebook to see their food, oh my gosh, it is amazing, and you're going to be so hungry afterwards. So thank you guys for being here with me today.
You're welcome.
They're actually up in Ohio right now, so Chris was working on the lighting for about 5 minutes ahead of time, so now you need a new job in lighting outside of restaurants. So my first 15 years of my life were in restaurants, and then in insurance. I've worked with a lot of restaurant owners over the years. I don't think people know how physically demanding it is to work in a restaurant, nor do people understand how slim the margins are. I think everybody's like, ooh, they're just like, their restaurant is so successful, but it's so much work staying successful. So congratulations on your success. I know you guys have worked super hard for it.
Thank you.
And you guys opened, and I think I read this, you called it a food desert in South Dallas.
Yes.
Did I read that, or did you guys say that, or did somebody else say that?
A news article said that because basically in the past it wasn't a lot of restaurants that you could go to. So when we opened up back in, I don't know,
2016,
2016, 15, somewhere in there, it basically wasn't a lot of places to eat.
So I've always heard that the restaurant business, if you can make it through your first 2 to 3 years, then you start trending up. Did you guys find that to be true as well?
Yes.
So 2018, 2019, you're like, ooh, this is doing good. We're finally to a spot of like, hey, this is working. And then 2020 hits and COVID about did you in, but it saved you at the same time, didn't it?
Yes.
So tell us the food, the fair story. I'm excited to hear you guys tell how that all went down.
Well, our journey was pretty like a roller coaster. When we first started, we started out just as a nonprofit doing the after school care program and the summer feeding program. So we were actually using the kitchen as a commercial kitchen. And so the owners came and said that we needed to open up something to the public to bring in more traffic. And so that's how we got started. They said you can do an event center or you can do a restaurant. So we put some ideas together. And around the 4th of July, Chris started just going around passing out wings and samples of cheesesteaks and everything to the patrons on the 4th of July that were outside ready to watch the fireworks at the Fair Park. And so starting on that Monday, we had a line.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. And so from that point, we grabbed cash registers. Our family jumped in and everyone just started helping us because we initially just didn't think about being in a restaurant business. And so that's how Southside Steaks and Cakes was born.
I read that you guys had to watch YouTube videos on how to work the cash register.
Yeah, it was basically like a chapter before that. We had to do research and see what exactly was it in that area and see what we could kind of, what would have high demand. And we basically like going into it in a survival mode. So it wasn't no wing stops or no cheesesteak spots, or it wasn't any desserts in the area. It was mostly like corner store foods and about 2 or 3 mainstream restaurants. So the menu was kind of built off what wasn't in the area. So it wasn't what we actually do good, but it was like it had
It was a need for
a need for it. Yeah, it pretty much had a need for it. So the menu was built off of need.
Interesting, because your cheesesteaks, and I guess that kind of makes sense to me now because I was reading about how your cheesesteaks are not their traditional Philly cheesesteaks.
No, we didn't try to replicate something that's not broken. We basically just want to put our Texas spin on what a cheesesteak should be like. And so Chris jumped in the kitchen and just started whipping up what we now call the home of the Texas cheesesteak.
That's so cool. Will you describe what is that for somebody who has yet to drool all over
Okay,
your
so
website?
basically, we didn't go with the traditional bread, the Amorosa, because we did a little test run on the 4th of July, and it was like they wasn't used to it. So we found the French hoagie that would still hold up just as good as the Amorosa. And the way we prepared, we put a lot more love and
Flavor.
more flavor. No, we put a lot more love, and we actually take the ingredients and the ingredients and the vegetables and everything, and saute them and cook them on the grill together, instead of cooking them in different portions and then burn them together.
Oh, that's fun. And how many different cheesesteak varieties do you have?
We
That's like
had
20.
17 at first, and we actually kind of consolidated down to about 8. We got about 8 or 9 now.
What's your top seller?
It's called a realist. It comes with sauteed bell peppers and onions, chicken and steak with our house rub, and it comes with provolone, pepper jack, and American cheese. You can get it in a 6, 8, and a 12 inch.
Oh my goodness. Wow. So, okay. So just you guys opened the doors, you had a line out the door, you've got all these cheesesteaks, and then what happened during COVID?
Well, during COVID, it was just a scare for everyone because the city shut down. And so one of the wins was for us that they let the restaurants be open so people could get food. So we actually had to transition into the style of how we serve the food. We were dine in and we went to more just takeout only. So we redesigned the way that our restaurant was made. Just in case it happens again, we actually have a door where you can just come and just pick up, your orders and things like that. So we had to just basically go into like we were our own carriers, where people just called in their orders and you were able to just come in and pick up. So it took a lot of love out of just the experience of being at Southside Steaks and Cakes, because we call ourselves the cheesesteak trap. And so when you're in, you're listening to music. We have dominoes, cards, and just things like that. So COVID, it was really just scary because you didn't know you didn't know any industry did not know, where it was going to go or what was going to happen. But we were able to still serve people food. So we were able to keep all of our employees except like 2.
We gave them an
We
option.
gave them an option at the time based on health if they wanted to stay or go. But if they decided to stay, we were like, hey, we're going to thug this out together, make sure everyone gets paid, and we're just going to change the way that we do things. So basically, just the way that we presented the food changed for us.
So when did you guys apply for the fair?
Throughout the time of us just serving during the fair, a lot of customers that worked at the fair, employees and just customers, period, they would always come in and say, hey, you guys should be in the fair. You should be in the fair because we sell fried desserts. So we were selling funnel cakes. We had fried Oreos,
fried honey buns,
mhm,
ice cream, pretty much all the stress-free fun foods.
the fun foods. And so they would come in and they would taste our cheesesteak and our wings, and they were like, hey, you guys should just definitely be, inside the fair. And we actually had an item that we were selling that won the best
I think
savory.
it was best savory.
It was the best savory. And they was like, hey, you guys been selling this, and it won in the state fair. So that got us excited and we started applying, but we were denied like 3 times, I think. And then COVID basically opened up the doors for us to be part of the fair. There was a lady who had a lot of booths, and I think because of age, she decided not to participate, in the state fair again. And don't quote me on the numbers, I don't know, but I think she had about
10, I think. 8 to 10
10,
booths.
10 booths or something, or a little higher, and some of them went to old to people who were already in the fair, and then we were awarded one of the 6 that was left.
That's so amazing how things work, isn't it? You had to make a new door
Yes.
in your restaurant to have people come in, and then you have this door open. And then what happens when you get into the fair?
Basically, when we got into the fair, we just kind of focusing on like the main things, getting the product out really fast, not running out of inventory, and staffing. And we was faced with the we didn't know if we was going to be able to keep the restaurant open and the fair, so we had to actually close down the restaurant just to concentrate on the fair. So we closed for them. We actually closed a little bit longer than the fair, so that was the biggest thing that we had to accomplish during the fair to make sure that we was can run a successful concession stand. But we proved that we can do it.
Did you make as much money at the concession stand of the fair that you do in like a day at your restaurant?
Well, the fair, you have way more traffic, so you're gonna make 5 to 6 times way more. I think
Uh,
they say, I don't know the exact numbers, but the fair generates a lot of income.
wow, that's so cool. Um, I have 3 questions that want to come out at the same time, and I'm trying to figure out which way to go. So, the other cool thing that happened at the fair, I had to go look up this is your creation, right, Nicole?
No, it was actually Chris's.
Oh, it's Chris's
Yeah.
creation. Okay, gotcha. I misread that somewhere. So describe the the peanut butter paradise.
Want to describe it? So basically, um, it's a honey bun. It's dipped in funnel cake. Then we fry it. Then we inject it with caramel. That same hole that we injected with caramel, we added Reese's cups to it to plug up that hole, and we put Reese's pieces on it with powdered sugar.
And a lot of different them. That's the part that I come in. I'm a candy fanatic. I love to eat candy. So he sprinkled all the different candies that are made with peanut butter in honor of me.
Yeah.
So you had your
Oh,
Reese's Pieces, Butterfinger crumbles. All my favorite candies were on top of the peanut butter paradise.
so when you put this together, did you have any inkling that you would be in the running for the award?
To be honest, I already knew I was going to win because
Oh, you
no,
did.
no, seriously, like it was so much that went into the honey bun. I actually grew up eating it, and it had so many stories behind it, so I knew it was a winner. I just had to be creative to make sure that it was tasteful. And one of our clients, he was falsely accused of a murder that he didn't commit. I think he did like 20 years, 20 to 30 years, somewhere around there. And he had the same story that I had. So I just had to create a product with that story and push it out there. And that's what I came up with. Like, the first 2 draws, it didn't look as tasteful. And then once I got it down, I made it look like a little island. And I actually treated the Reese's Pieces like they was little people. So I had a vision and it had the taste. So I kind of figured once I saw the competitors not bragging or nothing, it was then a whole different ballpark.
He was telling me, "Hey, you better get ready to do your speech." He kept just speaking it into existence because he was like, "We're gonna win." And I was on his back because you only have a timeline to present your idea. So, like this year, they start accepting applications, I think like May 1st, and it's due by the 15th. So, next week, we have to be thinking of what we're doing. And you have some people that prepare all year just to win the contest, but he basically already had his ideas, and we actually made it to the savory, but just to the semifinals. But we decided not to carry that item. So when we got the call, just to that we report, they was like, "Are you guys okay?" Because it's like a secret, so we couldn't let staff know or anything. And so I'm in the back and I'm screaming like inside, like, "Chris, come here!" Like we got in, but the staff didn't know what was going on. So we actually competed in both and made it to the semifinals and actually won. So I was so happy because I basically just finally was like, "We're winning," because he spoke it. So
Right.
for me to just see him say, "This is what's going to happen," and then from where it came from, one of the ideas was from a guy who was formerly incarcerated, and he was accused falsely, and he just happened to be at our restaurant one day, trying some food, and he was like, "Hey, this kind of reminds me of when I used to go retire to my room after feeding a lot of people, and a lot of the people who were in jail, and he would spread the peanut butter on the honey bun." So it was just so many stories with Chris's childhood, me liking peanut butter candy. It just all came together.
And then actually, our whole menu is creative. So I actually been practicing for this for 7 years, if that make any sense. We don't do nothing
Practicing
kind
for
of,
the fair, or what do
no,
you
just
mean
my
practicing?
creativity. It's just the point that our menu is kind of set up where we add a twist to everything. So it's just the point of adding a twist to that dessert. Like I had other items that I could have entered into the fair. So it was like a lot of practice put into it, but that was like the actual main event, like the main
My
item.
main item that came out of
And
it.
this was in 20, so in 2020 you won, or
Was that?
or 2021.
No, we just
We
won
just
in
won.
2021.
Yeah, 2021.
So were the other people who'd been at the fair for a long time, where they're like, what are these rookies doing coming in and getting first place?
Yeah, actually, it was kind of weird because we didn't even understand the process. So through every step of it, we had to call it like, hey, what should we do next? What do we do now? What do we do now? So actually winning and not knowing the process, that meant more. It's like you don't even know what type of game it is, but you in the finals.
Yeah.
Because I remember going to set up and everyone had decorations or were getting ready, but we didn't even know that we were supposed to be decorating because it's a whole production.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a secret, but it's a production. You have to create whatever your image is, or whatever your product is. You have to build like an image of what it's going to be. So I'm telling Chris, hey, we need to get this table ready. So he went and built the whole paradise island on our table, just for the product. So everything just came together. So it was awesome. And as the other contestant winners, they were congratulating us. Some of the people who had won before, they said, well, we knew that you guys would be our competition. So that felt good because the first year that we were in the fair, we didn't know that people really noticed us. We just came in with a job to do. We were learning about the fair because it's totally different from running a restaurant. Concessions, you have to get things over the counter really fast, and especially like OU Texas, Grambling, Prairie View, Columbus Day, you just have long lines. Like we had employees falling out, and everything just because of the heat.
Yeah.
So it was like totally just a different experience for us. But we were just so excited that we completed the 24 days, and then to come in as first time contestants and win, it was just, I was overjoyed.
Did all that, I guess, publicity help the restaurant? Do people know about you more now because of it?
Yes, I
Yes.
think it brought a lot of notoriety. Um, we've always had traffic at the restaurant, but now we get people from all walks of life to come and visit.
We get a lot of tourists, a lot of people from out of town. I think like
Oh, yeah.
30% of our sales daily is people that's actually just came in town. Like we get a
Oh,
lot,
interesting.
we got high retention, but we get a lot of new customers daily.
So this is probably a good transition, because this was one of the questions I wanted to ask you about a minute ago, because you talked about the experience of coming to your restaurant, and you called it a trap,
The cheesesteak trap.
the cheesesteak trap. Will you explain a little bit about how you guys came up with that?
It came from COVID.
Yeah.
And speaking to, you want to go
Yeah.
ahead?
Yeah. So basically that morning I had woke up, I just heard on the news that restaurants will be closing, the city will be shut down. And so I'm just listening to that. I'm like, so how do that operate? Like, how can they just shut the world down like that? So I heard that play in my head while I was asleep. But I looked at it from a positive aspect. I said, so if we can open, what would you do? So come to find out, certain restaurants, like we didn't sell alcohol. A lot of ones that kind of had alcohol, they had to close to redo their thing and everything like that. So we saw opportunity to kind of downsize our menu even smaller to get products out really, really fast. So I created a menu that wouldn't take that much time with the same ingredients, just in case COVID did hit and they said you could open. I would have no products left over, so I was just moving them in smaller increments and making a different product. And that caused it to be a trap because we was rolling it really fast and getting it out really quick. So it went down to like items from $20 down, but don't take more than 2 or 3 minutes to prep the size of the wings.
And it was taking something from, just our community that's looked at negative and putting a positive spin on it. So he was like, hey, we're just going to trap the restaurant out. We're just going to get in there and you can trap doing anything. Like if you're in some music, you can it's just called hustling and working hard. And so that's where the connotation came from.
And who runs your social media?
Pretty much. We run it, but we're not no experts at it. So we kind of be freelancing and just posting.
We're
And
looking
she
for
do
You're
the
funny.
content.
You guys are funny. I was rolling out looking through your social media. The 420 stuff that you had out,
Yes.
and I know you guys go to Oklahoma. I've been in Oklahoma, and I saw
Yes.
that 420. I was like, oh, hello.
Yes. We try
But
to
I thought it was so smart. It was so cute and inventive, and
And that was one of the things that she's a little more conservative than I am. So I kind of be leaning one or two ways. Like I give it a chance because I know I don't live that lifestyle. So it's fun to go transitioning from a different lifestyle to damn near clean cut. So to have fun with basically what goes on every day and have use the same terminology, but with different meanings and different products. I just found it really fun. So I just be pushing the envelope a little bit, but I enjoy it.
I do want to know who is the original Scooter Mac. Is that you?
Yeah, I'm the original Scooter Mac.
And I saw on your Facebook page you've been a hustling MFer since you were
Yeah,
9.
so if we can be real now, like I was selling book covers that was free at age 8 years old just to get lunch.
You were selling book covers that
Like
were
book covers
free?
came with a free pizza coupon. So I used to make sure I get all the book covers to sell them to them, and they was actually free. And that's how I got my lunch. So I've been selling products since I was 8 years old. And then I've been working since I was 12, selling candy. Got my first job on my birthday at 16. Been working ever since, and through 18 to 20 something, kind of got involved with a different life where I was still selling products, but illegal products. So I always sold I've been a salesman since I was 8 years old.
And now you're selling cheesesteaks and funnel cakes. Oh my
Yeah,
God, I can't wait to come and have one of
yeah.
your funnel
And it
cakes.
just feels so
So
good. It just
tell,
feels so good to be legit. Like I'm one of the hustlers that never got caught. You know what I'm saying? So it feels good to actually transition without being punished. So I make sure that I do it in a godly way now to make sure that I'm giving back and I'm actually paying. I feel like I'm paying back for all the wrong I did because I didn't have to pay for it by doing good deeds.
yeah. So let's talk about some of the names that you have for the food. I know you've taken the word trap, which trap actually means like a drug house or
Yeah.
something, right? And so you're like, no, we're going to reclaim that name and make it something fun. But you also have, what are some of the names of your combo meals? I don't remember them. I'll mess them up if I
We have
say
the
it.
nickel bag. It's a special, and it's where you get a quarter of a sub and fries for a nickel, which is $5, in the hood community. And then we have the dime sack. So a dime sack would be like $10 worth of weed or a product in the streets. So you get 4 wings and a little side order of a steak shows, which we call, they're like nachos, but they're cheese steak. We call them steak shows. And so we have items that are called
Pre-roll blunts.
pre-roll blunts.
We got Angel Dust, Bust Down, Straight Drop. We got Drink. Like we got everything that a drug dealer.
We had El Jefe, and we even named some of our items before we had to shorten the menus off after local, what would I call them? Like local people in the communities,
Yeah.
in the community. So it's kind of fun because you have teachers, professionals, pastors, doctors, lawyers coming in there, and it's just fun, like to say it, like, hey, can I have a dime set? So
Do they just like like
funny.
sit over there
On
and
the flip
giggle?
side, we also got names of different neighborhoods that kind of supported us over these years. So we have like West Dino, the North Side, South Side. We got like PG, like every neighborhood that done showed us
PG is
love.
like Pleasant Grove. Yeah. And West Dino is West Dallas. That's where I'm from. From West, they call it Trinity Groves now, but that's the area that I grew up in. And then I graduated from South Oak Cliff, which is like the home of the Golden Bears. So we had to throw like South Dallas and Southside in there.
So we had took it off the menu. We had the Cliff Club. It was a sub.
So
The Cliff Club. Oh, that's fun. But it had to come off.
We're still honored if they know it. We have a secret menu of the stuff that we used to have. We're still honored, but the new people don't know about it, so we don't have to make that many. But everybody in the kitchen still know how to actually.
It was just due to the price of food. Like when COVID happened, food product, the prices soared, just inflation. So in order to keep our employees, we had to cut down on costs. So we couldn't carry this big variety. We had to actually look at what sold the most and what we could replicate, at the same cost increments to just save. So we had to decrease the menu a lot, but it's still fun. And when you come in, it's a vibe. Like, can't wait till you come visit.
Because you actually get to let your hair down and roll your sleeves up. It's so comfortable. Like some people feel like they're in their own living room. And that's what you want. Like we want people to walk. Like I told them when they walked through that door, whatever they was going through before they get there, make sure you give them something to be happy about. Like make them feel more important than anybody else make them feel their entire day. And you're competing with people that you haven't seen. So you need to make them feel very important. So it actually is a place where it's comfortable. It's not disrespectful. Everything is like according to the crowd. Like if we got a bunch of people in there that look like they listen to blues, we're going to listen to blues. We got a bunch of people that look like they listen to gospel. We're going to listen to gospel. One person changed the atmosphere. We change for that one person. And we do listen to trap music. We don't listen to music that degrades women and just too vocal. But you will hear a couple of cuss words every now and then, but we try to make sure we minimize the words. Like some of the rappers that's mainstream that the kids damn near know the songs anyway. So we'll play it, but we play it at a certain time of the day, like right around closing. We'll play more trap music,
and we're not that big, but you have people getting up dancing sometimes, and on their lunch break, they're playing dominoes or against their peers. So it's just a lot of love and a lot of fun. So that's the thing that we miss most when COVID was there. We didn't get to really see our patrons or customers because we call them family now. So I'm so happy that it's over with and, people can come back in and see us.
So what's, aside from COVID, what's a hard day for you guys? Because, being a small business owner, it's
juggling time because she's a realtor 24/7. So in the morning, whoever had the most rest the previous day, they turn to mom. So sometimes I turn to mom. Like if I know she been up all night doing deals, I got to make sure I feed the kids, take the kids to school. So it's the point of switching shoes and being comfortable with it. She might have to cook. I might have to cook. When I tell her I just don't feel like talking, she got to understand that the restaurant just took me down. Like just giving that customer service all day, and she talks for a living, and I'll be finished. So it's the juggling of parenting and switching and putting on different shoes and jackets.
But from a restaurant aspect, the hardest part, because we stay pretty busy, so we're not like hurting financially or struggling in the restaurant business, is having enough employees to actually run the business. Like we're not performing as high as we could. And what I mean by that, like right now, we don't do Uber Eats, we don't do DoorDash, we don't do any of those or call-ins because we can't handle it just because there isn't enough staff right now. So right now what we're working on is just getting staffed up. It's like when COVID happened, a lot of people just turned into entrepreneurs. So it's kind of hard to hire somebody, especially in our area, because it comes with like a stigma, of just the area that we're in.
And then the restaurant industry, most restaurants actually use pre-cooked products. We actually cook into order. So you're actually working like you're really working. Like we got to actually cut vegetables every day. You got to make sandwich for sandwich. You know what I'm saying? The preparations go real deep, and a lot of people's not used to really working that physical.
We cut our own fries.
We cut our own everything. Yeah,
we make our own ranch. Some of our seasonings we make. So it's like a lot of stuff is just handmade. So it's fresh off the grill. So most of the time the complaints is because of the weight, but it's like you want fresh food or do you want fast food? It's not on the line. So we get a lot of great reviews just on the taste, and it's because it's made to order. When it's like a bad review, it's probably because we messed up or like the way that we think what they were saying, or something like that when they were ordering.
Like it get real detailed with the sandwich. They might say, I want 4 jalapenos. You might have put 5 on there, like 6. So it's like the specifics that go to a sandwich is ours is not traditional. So it's kind of hard to be perfect, but we work on perfection. So we kind of walking all the way down the line where someone checks it before it go out.
So what do you, if I were to interview you next year at this time, what do you hope that, do you have any
Yeah,
goals,
I do.
or you're like, I want to have this by next year, or 5
okay.
years, or
We'll
what do you
say
want,
next year.
where do you see
Next year we're
Southside?
gonna dream big. Next year I want to own a trailer. I want 3 concession booths. I want to be in the concession world. I want to be able to travel, go to different cities, different fairs, and pull up with my trailer and do that. I still want to keep my first baby, and I want to be able to at least hand it down. And when I say hand it down, I want someone else to run it and basically operate as an owner. But I want to build this mega Southside in the city from the ground up, where I can pretty much. I've been doing retail for like 15 years. I want to be able to sell some merchandise, food basically like a Cracker Barrel, but a trap Cracker Barrel. Yeah, so I want to sell the food, clothes, and I just want to be able to have all that in like a big, beautiful house.
And continue to
I love
hire,
it.
because right now at our restaurant, we started as a nonprofit, opportunities knocking at the door. So the staff that we hired, they're trying to get a second chance. Like some of them, they've had like a hard road, and so we give them a chance, and we're teaching them like entrepreneur skills and just how to go to the next level. A lot of people that have worked for us, they now have their own businesses. Some of them are going to school, for to be an entrepreneur. So they basically just made a better life. Some of them didn't have homes. Now they have apartments or a car. So we kind of feed into our staff and just show them different things.
Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool.
Take them off the
See,
So
streets,
what,
give them something productive.
so you want to make sure you're housing more people in the next 4 or 5 years. No, what's the 4 or 5 year goal? Like more housing? Yeah, because it all ties together. Like she's housing, I'm feeding. If we can tie together and build people up, that's the perfect picture. Like able to give them a home, give them a career, and they just be this super person.
So he said that because I'm working on a goal to where I would like to actually like build a home or give an investment property to like my staff. Because a lot of times when I interview people and I'm like, what's your 5-year goal? A lot of them is like, I just want to have my own place. And I'm like, wow, they just want to have their own place. So this is much bigger. I think God put us in a place to where we can grow and just continue to help people. But at the same time, they can relate, because it's like they come in an environment and it's the lingo. I don't know. It's just like a perfect world.
It's the perfect culture. Like we was able to stay true to ourselves. That's what I love the most.
wait,
We
say
was
that
able to
again?
stay true to who we was culturally.
True.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
got it. Got it.
that's the best feeling ever, to actually not have to change who you are to be successful. Like that's the biggest enjoyment I have of it right now. Just knowing that I can still be Scooter Mac and I have to be Christopher if I don't want to be, and I can be Scooter Mac and the business still grow. Like right now, the world, the city know who I am and they respect me for who I am. I wear spring t-shirts that say naughty stuff all the time. I'm just that type of dude, but I'm very respectful and I care about my clientele. Like I truly like. She's a review reader. I don't read reviews. I mean, she's shooting to me all day because I know I'm giving it my all. When you're giving it your all, you don't need that one person to break your spirit for that day. So I'll wait to the end of the day and let her call me and say, well, this lady said her burger was cold. Well, damn it, she was on the phone for 20 minutes before she walked out with her order. So I know that I'm giving it 150, and I know I'm putting everything in it. So I know what I'm doing. I'm doing it for my people. And I'm actually showing that average dude that's from the streets that didn't have nothing. You don't have to be the smartest one in the world, or you don't have to be set up. You can build something for nothing. Like the restaurant was built from nothing, with no training, no background in the restaurant industry, no staff. We had people come in here and they're like, God never left us where we broke down. he always added somewhere in there when we thought we was not going to have someone. Like, we'd be at points like, I'm out of town now. I'm like, damn, I don't think I'm going to be able to go with you. I'm like, yeah, I am, because I have faith. They going to put stuff in place. And when we get back, we got so many interviews. So I just feel when you really serving your people, you're going to get what you want. And you're going to get what you need. You're going to get what you need.
Get what you
Yeah.
need.
So
Yeah.
I'm just so happy I still get to be who I am and be successful in the business.
Well, you guys, I'm so happy for all of your success. I loved going through all of your Facebook posts and reading all of the stuff that you guys have written and what you're trying to do. And your food looks amazing. I can't wait. I honestly didn't know that there was a place where I could get funnel cakes outside of the fair, and funnel cakes are my favorite.
Yes.
So I'll be coming to see you soon and hug your necks like the family that you already feel like you are. What do you want to talk about that I didn't talk about with you? Is there anything you want to bring up or that you want people to know that you're like, man, I wish you would have asked me this?
We need help with social media management. So I'm basically
You-
like creating the stuff, but if there's anyone listening that's your field and we can still be us and you can capture it on camera and help us just go to the next level with marketing. Um, Anyone that can give us ideas on retention of employees, or normally when our staff works for us, we get them, but it's just getting enough decent, employees to work. Um, that's the only thing that I have so far. I think you pretty much covered.
I have two suggestions
Okay.
for you. Actually, I just met a woman the other day, and so I'll pass her along to you. And then I have another business coach that I've worked with that I really, that I don't know, I can't tell where you are, but you can talk with him and see if he's of any value to you whatsoever.
Awesome.
So, but yeah. And then how can people find you? Where are you guys?
We're located in at 3125 Al Lipscomb Way in South Dallas, Texas. It's right near the Fair Park. You can basically walk from the Fair Park to get there. And the zip code is 75215. Sometimes on MapQuest it still comes up as Grand because the address used to be 3125 Grand, but it's 3125 Al Lipscomb. You can find us on Facebook. We have a little Instagram post, and we're doing a little bit of TikTok, but Facebook is our normal, just social media platform right now.
And what are your hours? What time do you guys
We
close?
10:30 to 8. That's Monday through Saturday,
10:30 to 8.
and it's 8 o'clock, not 7:59. 8 o'clock.
So as long as you make it through
If you
those
make it to that
doors,
door at 7:59, we will serve
we
you.
will serve you, and you can stay in. And if we open the doors at 10:30, but food comes out hot and fresh at 11. And so Sundays right now are our rest days.
Good for you. Well, you guys, it was so nice having you. Thank you so much. That I'm so glad that we were able to do this and you made time. I know you're out of town at a convention, so thank you again for doing
Thank
this.
you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so our insurance story of the week. This was actually not our client, I will say that, but because we've been talking about jewelry coverage, I thought maybe we should tell this story. There was a guy who was going to propose to his girlfriend, and so he called his insurance agent to get the ring insured, right? It's like a $95,000 ring, so it's good to get it insured. So they're on a beach, he pops the question, but something happens. She ends up throwing the ring into the ocean, right? Not good. So he calls back and he's like, hey, I need to make a claim. She threw the ring in the ocean. We got into a big fight. And they said, I'm sorry, it's not going to be covered. That's considered an intentional act and not covered on the insurance policy. Thank you so much for being with us today. We appreciate it. Please go to gibagencydallas.com to tell us what you think about this podcast and anything you'd like to hear next. Have a good one. Bye-bye.